Okay. Hello and welcome to our open house video for the Regiment Band program at Timber Creek High School. We're glad that you clicked on the link and are watching our video for just a few minutes. We won't take very much of your time, but we do want to make sure that we share with you some important information that you probably need and want to know about our band classes. So first things first, a couple just introductions as we go around, and we'll introduce ourselves as we speak to you about a few important concepts. So my name is Mrs. Katie Hoey, if you haven't met me before. I'm primarily the teacher for the freshman band class, and so if you're a freshman band parent watching this, your student sees me every day for the most part. So really excited to have our new students to the Regiment program here with me. To start us off tonight, I want to make sure that we talk about one of our most important things, which is communication. So far, you should be receiving at least 1 or 2 emails per week, known as our staccato, or what's our weekly newsletter. We call that our staccato. If you're not receiving those emails, please reach out to one of the directors and let us know. Our email addresses are on the Canvas pages on each course, so you can reach out to any of the 4 directors that you see. We are happy to get a hold of you. And by saying that, I want to make sure you know that email really is one of the best ways to get a hold of us. All 4 of us will respond to email within the day, most likely, in most cases. We also use Remind very regularly. So if you're not receiving any Remind text messages from your child's class, you'll want to make sure that you're signed up for Remind. Your students should be receiving Remind text messages for their band class, and we can allow 1 parent per child in each class on their Remind text messages. So you'll see that information also on the front of your Canvas course page for your child. The other things that we use for communication in the band program, we have a Facebook page. So if you're not in our Facebook group, if you're a Facebook user, please make sure you do that. Those links are also in Canvas. And we also have a Regiment Instagram page that our students regularly use, and we put a lot of announcements and information up on there. So if you are using Instagram or Facebook, make sure you go ahead and like those pages so that you're getting updates regularly. So you should see a lot of communication from the band program. And if you ever have questions or you're not sure about something that you're seeing, please don't hesitate to reach out to us in any of those communication methods. Email, Remind are the best ways to get a hold of the directors directly, but then you can also use Facebook and Instagram as well. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Cox, who's going to talk about some basic student expectations for our classes.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoey. Hello, everybody. I'm Reg Cox, obviously one of the 4 directors for the Timber Creek Band program. My primary responsibilities are the music theory honors class and the wind ensemble. Just want to talk about class expectations and what the students, whether they're launch ed or face-to-face, it's a very, very similar expectation that the directors have for those students. The first thing that the students should be doing every single day is opening up their laptop and logging in to a big blue button or a Microsoft Teams, depending on the situation in the day. That is the same whether they're at home, whether they're here at school. We start off class the same all 4 of us start off our classes the same way every single day. And the majority of those classes are spent in those conferences with the students. Sometimes we'll have 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the period where if a student is at home and they're able to play their instrument, they can do it then. But the majority of, we spend the majority of that time with instruction in kind of a virtual format, whether the student is launch ed or whether they're face-to-face. Communication is key. A lot of times the directors will ask students for feedback throughout the course of the class. So this can't be a thing where the kid gets up in the morning and logs into the class and then goes and has breakfast while class is going on or whatever it is. Or obviously, we want to make sure that they're fully engaged at all times, and we're oftentimes doing polls with the students, getting feedback, asking them questions directly, making sure that they understand the concepts of the day. So we want to make sure that that's the case as well. So far as assignments go, the directors, we handle each of our classes a little bit different, but generally speaking, it's very similar. We have at the very, very minimum weekly assignments, and in many cases, it's a little more often than that. And so, if your student goes by for a week and says, yeah, we got nothing going on in band this week, that's probably not quite correct. So just make sure you check with them on that. Our assignments are all kind of geared towards similar things, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But generally speaking, they have at least weekly assignments. Sometimes it's, every day or every other day. So make sure you check with them on that. And then, one of the things we always want to encourage, and we talk with our students about this at all times, and parents, certainly anything you can do to help us would be much appreciated, which is just making sure that the students handle the chat feature of our conferences responsibly, and that they handle that maturely. So, at times we've had to make sure that we keep students on task, and that the chat is pertinent. It'd be a little bit different if the classes were 25 or 30 students, and like the music theory honors class that I teach is about 25, 30 students. But when our bands are 70, you can imagine a chat room gets very congested verbally very, very quickly when given that opportunity. So we've been trying these first 9 weeks. This is one of the bigger challenges with virtual, because we don't want to just like keep the kids locked out of conversation at all times, because that's not how we would teach if they were here in person. But this requires just kind of a different level of maturity. And so, parents, just continue to encourage your students. They certainly do a good job most of the time. And every once in a while, they have to be reminded. So, if you could help us out with that, that would be great. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Hoey, who is going to talk about some of our course curriculum basics. Mr. Hoey.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Hello, everybody. I am Mr. Devin Hoey. My primary teaching responsibilities are symphonic band and the jazz band program currently. The curriculum stuff that we're doing currently has obviously evolved this year, because what we had been doing in the fall is very different at this moment, and we are starting to lean pretty heavily on the Smart Music program for assessments on a weekly basis. It's really turned out really pretty great. The Smart Music program, helping students and giving immediate feedback, has given us the opportunity to have a lot more sight reading. In our classes, it's a little different in each one of the classes in freshman band and wind ensemble, but in symphonic band and jazz band, currently we're doing a sight reading Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Your students should be logging in and doing a Smart Music assignment that is just a really quick, should literally take them 2 minutes, because you only get to look at the sight reading for 60 seconds, and then you have to play it immediately, hence the sight reading portion of it. And then there's a longer assignment that's due every Friday. With exception of last week, we didn't, or the ninth week of the 9 weeks, we didn't do a big assignment because we wanted to give them a little bit of room to try to get assignments done in other classes. And then primarily those assignments have been dealing with individual skill development, and moving forward, we're going to start to transition that into some assignments for upcoming virtual performances like the Prism concert. We're going to start to transition what we're working on in class and what they're responsible for with their assignments on a weekly basis towards the goal of putting forward that virtual virtual performance for the community. So the Smart Music thing has been going really well. We're still doing play-alongs in class every single day, or most days. That's a little different with the face-to-face students, and with the Launch Ed Purely students. We're doing our very best to facilitate good instruction for both groups. 80% of our students are still at home, so obviously we're kind of focusing on that. But we're trying to make sure that the face-to-face students have a great experience as well. But transitioning from what we've been doing into the second 9 weeks, we're going to get more towards some of the performances that are coming up. And I say performances loosely because they're going to be digital things that will be, presented virtually for everybody. We're pretty excited about that, but that's going to take a whole new type of learning. Yet again, we're learning new things this year, which is very exciting. And I hope your students are enjoying the playing that they're getting to do, even though it's not the same as we've always had. So we're very much enjoying seeing the growth individually with some of the students right now. And where this is a year like no other, I do feel like there's some really great things that we've been able to move forward for students. So hopefully you're seeing that. And it's a little bit different for the percussion students. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Tirado to let him discuss just a little bit about the differentiation that he's able to achieve with the percussion students. Mr. Tirado.
So my name is Mr. Jonathan Tirado, and I've been working with the percussion program. If you haven't already spoken to me, I know that a lot of the WIN students may recall in years past that I always stay in one side of the band room and always in one area with the percussionist. And similarly, this year, I don't really interact a lot with the WIN players all that much, although I am in some of the classes to say hey. And then I take the percussionist over into our separate big blue button where we go ahead and focus on very specific things. One of the really neat things that you guys are going to be able to see is actually we put together a little recital for them that we will be sharing later on in Facebook for people to be able to see what we've been doing during the first quarter. They've been turning in assignments that are different than the WINS because the nature of their instrument and how they're able to play it is completely different and unique during these times. And so what I am very excited to I'm very excited to share with the community what we have been working on, and to kind of state that for those of you that are kind of curious about that process, especially for percussion parents, is the fact that all of their assignments are all linked into their separate concert classes, and I'm the one in charge of linking all of that stuff. So if you have any questions about grades and understanding it a little bit further, please feel free to contact me. I'm on the specific Percussion Canvas homepage. All of my contacts are there, and we have a specific Percussion Remind that you can also utilize. But all of their grades are taken from those assignments in there, and I always link them up. So I know some percussionists may get a little confused with the WINS have something, but the percussionists have something else, and that is completely correct. But so far it's been working out pretty well, and you'll be able to see out of this really cool video that we put together. Along with our performances that we've been discussing, there are some unique performance opportunities coming up that we are currently still in the process of confirming, as we're kind of seeing a little bit more of the local circuits in our area being able to inform us. We're constantly adjusting to every single bit of information that they are releasing for both the percussion and color guard. And so as for on the percussion side of things, we're kind of excited to be doing some small projects where we may get the opportunity to get together and perform and to be able to put together a nice video to present to the community. But again, it all depends on how well we're staying on top of our virtual classroom scenarios and depending on how things are working in our community. And as stated for the color guard, we're really paying attention to the local circuits and trying to understand a little bit more as we move along. And so again, we're really trying our hardest to see the opportunities that are going to be available, but we want to ensure that our students are going to be at their safest in every single opportunity that we present. Okay, so that's it for the percussion side of things. The really exciting and color guard on that end, but the really exciting thing that I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Cox about is our Prism concert and the direction that we're going to be moving in as an entire band program.
Thank you, Mr. Trotto. So real quick, Mr. Hoey was referencing the Prism performance. Those of you guys who are new parents to the program, we have for 7 or 8 years now. I think 2013 or so was like the first year that we did it. We have a department holiday program that we put on for the community, and they generally involve a couple of sold out shows, and it's with band, chorus, orchestra, dance, and theater. And it's kind of certainly a favor to the students and the directors. It's a big undertaking, but it's something we really enjoy, and we do it generally in the middle of December. So our goal with the second quarter curriculum and what the students are going to be working on, whether that's WINS students, percussion students, color guard students, is a virtual performance for a virtual Prism. And the other programs in the department are working on the same thing. And we are looking at putting together a virtual Prism concert to share with you and share with our community. And right now, the tentative date for that is Friday, December 18th is going to be the tentative Prism viewing date. But that'll kind of depend on a couple of things, making sure that, like Mr. Hoey said, this is such a new norm or a new challenge for us. We've never tried to do a virtual performance before. And, sure you can imagine there's a lot of challenges that go with that and things that we just have not encountered before. So we're currently in the process of working through those things, but something for you to look forward to, and something that's kind of our compass setting, honestly, for all of our programs for these 9 weeks, is to put on something at the end of this quarter, right there, right as we get ready to go into the holiday break, into the winter break, that we can share with the community, and something that you guys will see the amazing talent that your kids have, and finally get a chance to share it with you. So we look forward to give you guys more information about that in the coming weeks. And it's something for all of us to kind of circle on the calendar and come up in about 2 months. We hope to be able to give you guys a great performance to share. So Mrs. Hoey is going to give a couple of odds and ends, and then we'll wrap this up. So Mrs. Hoey.
It's right where I am, the odds and ends. I like
odds and ends. Odds and ends.
So we have a couple announcement things that are really important for you and your students. These are not necessarily new announcements, but we want to make sure we're continuing to review them in case you've missed them. The participation fee that we've asked all students to pay, that's $75 for a participation fee as being part of the program. That's all students, winds, percussion, and guard students. And that $75 obviously is much smaller, very smaller, much smaller, that sounds terrible, than what we normally pay during this time of year, right? Because we're usually paying for an entire marching season, which we are not doing at the moment. However, we are doing things. We are doing smart music. We are playing. Mr. Torado is planning on things for the percussionists. Our color guard is also talking about different things coming up. We are talking about Prism and different opportunities for our students. And so all of those things, we are still functioning as a band program. And that $75 fee is really necessary for us to continue offering those sorts of things to your child. So I realize that when we ask for a participation fee, it may seem like they're not doing our normal band activities, and that is true. We are not doing what we normally do, but we are doing band activities, and so that $75 fee is really important. We've covered before what that is going towards, but your smart music account for every single child, for our wind and percussion students, for our color guard, that includes our staff that they're paying, Mr. Babb that teaches the color guard class, that's paying for his salary. The $75 fee is also covering t-shirts, which we will be talking to you guys about distribution. We actually got those t-shirts done. They're completed. We're really excited. Our seniors got to have those for their senior recognition last Friday. So the seniors already have those new shirts, but every single regiment member will get a shirt. So we'll be looking in your email very shortly for information about a t-shirt distribution date. We're trying to come up with something fun that the kids can come and pick up their shirts from campus. So keep an eye out for that information, but that's included in their participation fee as well. And of course, as we come forward and we're trying to purchase music for our Prism concert and different activities and music and things that we need, that participation fee is helping us continue that. So those things in addition, of course, you know that our program cannot function without monetary support at all. And of course, we're looking forward to the future, and we know that out there is another marching band show soon, hopefully. And so we just keep thinking ahead and planning for the future. And so our fundraising efforts are never, they're never going to go away, because we want to keep thinking ahead. And so we are going ahead with our tree fundraiser. So if you haven't seen any of that yet, make sure that you're looking at all of our social media. It's up on Facebook, it's on Instagram, you're seeing remind text messages, we're talking to the students in class about it. But our holiday tree fundraiser is a fantastic fundraiser that our band parents put together every year. It's been really successful for the past 2 years. So if you or your family or friends or your neighbors, if you normally purchase a live Christmas tree, we would love it if you purchase it from the regiment this year, because that's part of our fundraiser. It is a really easy way to fundraise, because all you have to do is send a really quick link, which we've sent out via email. We'll continue to send to you. You can share that with family and friends. They fill out the form online. There's no papers to fill out. They get to pay right on school pay. There's no money to collect for you. It's one of the easiest fundraisers. And then they get a fantastic Christmas tree. There's also wreaths that are beautiful live Christmas tree wreaths, and then also poinsettia plants, which are beautiful as gifts. So again, that fundraiser is happening now for the next 2 weeks. The order form has to be filled out before November 5th, but make sure you're keeping up with that. You'll see lots of more reminders in the next couple days, but that tree fundraiser is something that's really important to us and will help us continue to plan for the future of the regiment. So we want to make sure that we're putting that in. I think that's all for my odds and ends, and I'm going to hand it back up to Mr. Cox just to wrap things up. And I think he wants to talk to you about our seniors, which I just mentioned, but we're really, really super proud of them and their recognition last Friday night.
Yeah, so thank you, Mrs. Hoey. So real quickly, we had our first football game where we had sort of some version of a little bit of the small kind of version of the regiment. at it. So we had our senior recognition this past Friday night at the home game versus University. The seniors did such a good job. We had some non-percussion seniors who helped out as well. They did a great job too. It was so good to see them. We have one more home game left, and that is on Friday, November the 6th. And the team is doing very well right now. There's certainly a possibility that we could have a playoff game, but that would be, from what I understand, I think if we host a playoff game, it's like the third playoff game if we make it that far, sort of thing. So as far as we're concerned, November 6th, one more game. We anticipate that being probably a senior-only event. To keep the kids safe and socially distanced, we're only able to get 32 WIN students into the stands the way we have to measure it out. So we have a lot of limitations there about who can attend. So we'll be reaching out to our seniors and asking them about that game as well. But more importantly, the directors are looking at opportunities in the spring semester to have a couple of spring senior recognition events. We have 59 seniors in this particular class, and we had 8 who were not able to join us this past Friday night for different reasons. Some of it, they just don't feel that it's quite, that they're safe yet, or whatever the case might be. And we understand that. And certainly we hope to get to a situation, especially in the spring, where we can have an event that everybody feels comfortable attending. And so just so you're aware, the directors are looking at senior recognition opportunities for the spring semester. We're obviously looking for full band program opportunities to the extent that the situation allows. And, as we get, directives from, our local municipalities, and we understand what we're allowed and not allowed to do. But we will continue to look at the chances to celebrate this amazing senior class that we have right now. And you guys did a fantastic job last week. It was so good to see you. And we look forward to future opportunities. So for everyone, we appreciate your continued support. We know this has been a very, very trying year for everybody. It certainly, truthfully, it has been for the directors too. The idea of a virtual open house or a virtual anything is certainly not why we got into this profession all the years ago that we did. But we're certainly trying to make the best of it. And we know you are too. We know you and your students are, and we're here to support those efforts. We thank you for those efforts. We thank you for your continued support. And we look forward to a time when we can all be together again very soon. All right. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. All right. Take care.